5 FM. Rob Thompson. Carl Schoening. Halftime.
Gather up. It's halftime. Grab the Gatorades. We're heading to the locker room. Let's look at what just happened. He's Carl Schoening. I'm Rob Thompson. Welcome aboard. James Pledger taking us for the next 2 hours. Try to keep us on the rail. Of course, NBA free agency rules the day. Not a whole lot of news yet.
Some small things that I'll get to in Carl's countdown.
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting on some big stuff. A lot of stuff last night. Big changes, effects toward the NBA. We'll look in depth, certainly focusing on the Spurs. DeMar DeRozan is still teamless, though lots of rumors. Dougie McBuckets. Rudy didn't like that earlier today. What do you think of the nickname for Doug McDermott, Dougie McBuckets?
I think it was hard to spell McDermott, so McBuckets just made sense when he got famous. And we just go with that for the Twitter world to make sure our 280 characters are as clean as possible. I like McBuckets. It's a fitting nickname. He gets buckets.
He does. Carl Schoening, our Spurs expert. What did you think as the evening began?
Ready for this hot take? Full-on youth movement with all of the first-round picks that the Spurs have brought on. None of the signings show that they are putting a free agent ahead of any of their first-round picks, except for this little $30 million they still have carved out for somebody, and who knows what they do with that.
Wonder where DeMar is heading. Odds don't include the Spurs, but certainly the Spurs have the money, a nice safety net. I feel bad for what's happened to DeMar.
Why?
Well, and it's not just for this offseason. It's his entire career. He's the guy that just comes to work, does his job, success, but gets lost in the background. What did ESPN rank him as the 80? What do you call him?
82nd.
82nd. That's
wrong.
Yeah,
that was disrespectful.
That's a flat disrespect. 3 weeks ago, he was considered the best free agent available that was going to leave their current team.
Yeah, most likely to leave their team, yeah.
So, with Kawhi certainly going to re-sign and the others that were available. But DeMar was considered a good get. Well, here we sit on day 2 of free agency. We see Duncan Robinson get $80 million from Miami, which is effectively just took whatever extra money that he was going to get. Now
$90 million.
Yeah. Now all that DeMar can find is an MLE someplace, right?
That is his best way to get to the Clippers, who have been showing interest in him. And I just don't see a sign and trade with the Spurs and the Clippers. I don't see why the Spurs would do that.
Mid-level exception left for for DeMar DeRozan. We're going to look at the Miami possibility. There's still some talk that the Clippers might be in play. Lowry Markkanen, still a restricted free agent, has been offered by the Bulls, and until somebody comes and re-offers, he's a Bull. See if the Spurs are playing into that. Kelly Oubre still sitting out there. We haven't even talked about Zach Collins. Thoughts on Zach Collins?
When he was drafted 10th overall, I didn't quite get it because, if I'm not mistaken, he was on that very stacked Gonzaga team, and he was a bench player. He didn't start, and they drafted him 10th. But this is the NBA that we live in, where you can't allow these guys to develop a track record. You see the talent is there, and you want them on your team as quickly as possible, thinking you could develop them. Portland couldn't develop them because of injuries. Didn't play more than 11 games 2 years ago. Didn't play at all last year in the shortened COVID year. So it's a situation where I think $7 million a year is an easy enough gamble for the talent that is there, and he fits the Spurs timeline. Yet it doesn't put them out of the running for somebody like a John Collins or a Lowry Markkanen.
I like the way you said that. He fits the Spurs timeline. There's room to bake. We got room to develop.
Yes. Gorgui Dieng signed for a 1-year, $4 million deal with Atlanta. He wasn't on the Spurs timeline. He's in his 30s.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. And I think that through his actions, Brian Wright is telling us there's a timeline, and it's not a fast timeline. Unless that $30 million or so that's sitting out there that could be spent, you land a John Collins, everybody's perspective, I think, adjusts to, this is our team. These are the guys that we're going to have for a while. I don't think we're there. I think there's still another edition coming. Maybe not this year, or maybe not till the All-Star break or next summer, but I like what I see. Don't you?
Brian Wright has always been creative, I really liked how he almost brought Marcus Morris to the team. That would have been the right move, especially the way Morris played in New York. But obviously, that didn't work out for him. You also lose Davis Bertans in that whole mess. And I think that sets the Spurs back. They probably would have been a playoff team if Davis Bertans, the best three-point shooter on the team, isn't given away for nothing, essentially, because of that. Not a blunder on the Spurs' part, but the whole unprofessionalism of that situation. So there is a little bit of sour taste of Brian Wright and some Spurs fans, but I don't think it's his fault.
No, the Marcus Morris situation was not his fault.
Absolutely.
Not at all. That was dirty pool. And then you're also going in with the New York Knicks team that felt like they would have been tampered with the Kristaps Porzingis situation. It's unfortunate. But, the Davis Bertans thing, Davis had to go. I agree that it would be nice. Not for nothing. You're right. But Davis, after the Denver Nuggets series, it was time for him to go. It was obvious that he was an absolute detriment on the court defensively, that he could do zero and chose to do zero.
And in the playoffs, those one-dimensional players are easy enough to shut down and take out of the game.
Absolutely. So while I don't fault Brian Wright for the situation, and Davis has improved. He's not the same guy he was when he left San Antonio. I don't blame Brian for any of that. I think that was little bit of a mess that was created before he got here and a situation that was not of his doing. But now I think we can safely say this is his team.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I think that they've done a good job accumulating this roster. We're already sitting at 13 players. Mm-hmm. There's only 2 roster spots available and $30 million to go around, should they choose to even spend it that way.
In your mind, what was the most significant free agent signing around the NBA? In just a couple minutes, we're going to go up and down the length and breadth of the teams. But what was the one that you saw? Said, that makes sense. That was a good move. I'm glad they did it. It could be keeping. It could be somebody from another team.
Good for Mike Conley to get his money and stay with Utah. I think he is an integral part of that team that had the best record in the NBA. And a little bit of breaking news since R&R went out. Rudy Gay signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with them. So the Utah Jazz just bolster a very impressive, well-balanced roster.
Rudy and Mike back together again.
That's true.
That team got older. I mean, there's certainly some age on that team. I like Utah. I think as long as we look at Los Angeles, it's still set up for them to win this thing if they stay healthy. But there are so many ifs on that team, so many, old vets that I don't think you can rely on for a full season. That if you're Utah and if you're Denver and if you're Phoenix, you have every reason to load up and act as if that you've got an opportunity. I think that's the limit. And I'm sorry, and of course the Clippers. I think every one of those teams has every right to believe that they can win a world championship. Every one of them, because I don't expect the Lakers to stay completely healthy all season long. I think LeBron is now to the 35 to 30 games a year kind of player, whether it's self-induced load management. I know that he's chasing numbers, but I think he'd rather have a longer career and fewer games than each season as he winds things down. But free agency has certainly affected the league. We got the Dallas Cowboys. We're your home for the Cowboys. And on Thursday, we will have the very first game of the year. Ewald Kubota brings to you the start of preseason, the Hall of Fame game this Thursday night, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kickoff will be at 6 o'clock. As soon as the Blitz and Jason Minix go off, we'll have your Dallas Cowboys, and that will be an ongoing. We got Cowboys until February. Good with that?
Yeah, Cowboys, hey. I guess as an Eagles fan, I am obligated at working here to be sort of the level-headed one.
I want you to be an Eagle fan through and through,
man.
I'm
still an Eagles fan. Don't mistake that. I'll have some fun with this, although the Eagles do project to be worse than Dallas this year. I like how Dallas has a well-balanced offense, assuming everybody stays healthy, and that defense has a chip on their shoulder. We'll probably have to get into some of that.
I think we will in about, I'd say 15 minutes or so. We'll look at the Dallas Cowboys training camp as they are expected, or they're getting ready to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. One thing for sure, when you play the Steelers, whether it's the middle of August or it's the middle of January, there's going to be blitzes coming.
Blitzburg, baby.
They are coming at you, and there will be no quarter given nor expected. That offensive line that is supposed to be retooled, we'll see how they look, those backups, the double Connors, the McGoverns. We got Tyler Biotish, Terrence Steele, we had him on last week, San Antonio's own. That backup offensive line, going to be put to the test. And that really has been the least of the questions, at least through camp. The offensive line has question marks, though, relative health. We'll see how they do against the Steelers and Blitzburg, as you just called it. Hey, it's a $2 Tuesday. Tonight, the Texas League back in action. The San Antonio Missions have their Tuesday nights, and it's $2 Tuesdays. We're going to be giving away some tickets in just a couple of minutes. If you want to go see the San Antonio Missions tonight, taking on the dreaded Hooks. They're not coming as the Whataburgers, are they?
The fighting Whataburgers?
They're not.
The fighting honey butter chicken biscuits?
That's what they are, right? The honey butter chicken biscuits? Those are some nalgas for you. Yeah, we're going to give away some tickets here in just a couple minutes. Another reason it pays to listen to San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM all day, every day. I know it's lunchtime. You've had a chance to kind of get on the road, go get in your drive-thru, waiting for your food. We want to make sure when you get back to work, you're fully aware of the day's headlines. It is time for Carl's Countdown.
Thank you for the go on that one, James Pledger. It is Carl's Countdown, and headline 2 here in the countdown, some small signings to get to around the NBA. Obviously, we mentioned Rudy Gay won't be rejoining the Spurs next year as he goes to Utah for a 2-year, $12 million deal in which he has a player option. Other signings, Sam Decker comes back to the NBA as he signs a 2-year deal with the Toronto Raptors. Rodney Hood fills in the spot of P.J. Tucker in Milwaukee as Tucker left for Miami yesterday. And Nemanja Bjelica signs a 1-year deal with Golden State. And then just breaking moments ago, I didn't have it written down on my page, but Pledger's got me. Woj tweets out that free agent center Andre Drummond has agreed to a 1-year deal with the 76ers. So a lot of 1-year deals, kind of low risk, high reward contracts being given out here in the second day of free agency.
Fillers. Where was Decker? You said back in the NBA.
He was overseas.
Was he really?
Mm-hmm. He had some back issues that sort of took his athleticism away, and I guess the Raptors saw that he was athletic enough to play in the NBA again.
What's our second round pick? I don't want to have to put on the chain. What's his name? Fran?
Joe Wieskamp?
Wieskamp. I didn't say it. It was a check swing. Started with Fran. You didn't get the camp. I just threw out the Fran, pulled it back. It's a curveball. I thought it was fastball.
Was there a question about Wieskamp?
No, he reminds me of Sam Decker. They have the same game.
I could see that, and the Spurs didn't have to draft him 17th overall like the Houston Rockets did once upon a time. Sorry,
injuries
Bush.
derailed his career, my man.
Yeah, you can't go into the NBA with back problems. Michael Porter Jr. is an outlier. All right, headline 1. Earlier this morning, Simone Biles made her return to the Olympics, winning the bronze medal on the balance beam final. And my thoughts on that are good for her. Happy she felt confident enough to go back out there, because I think in the grand scheme of her life, if she completely missed out on a chance to win a medal in this Tokyo Olympics, she probably would have regretted it. So I'm happy that she was able to, whatever she needed to go through, get to be able to do what she loves and back out onto the balance beam.
Yeah, she got the bronze. That's her 7th medal as a gymnast. That tied her for the all-time record for Team USA. I'm happy for her, like you, but it's an awful situation. I think we'll look at athletes from now on in a completely different way over the last several months, as athletes have come out and talked about the mental side and just the side effects of being a professional athlete. We're taking into account the whole view of them. Congratulations, Simone. No, what a sad. It's just so remarkably unfortunate. It seems almost more painful than a physical injury. I mean, when you can point to my ankle, it's hurt, I can't do it. That's everybody says, oh yeah, I understand. But when you point and you say, well, I got the twisties, I don't feel right. It's hard to comprehend if you're not an athlete. We're trained to say you're getting paid, you're a star. Go out and do it and get the fruits of your labor, become wealthy. Simone already had that. And I'll tell you what, the money that I believe she lost, it's unfortunate, but it didn't matter. Still got the gold in the all-around. Different girl. Won plenty of golds. Just didn't have her out there, but she competed in the last event. Of the hardest one, too, the beam.
Is it the hardest? I don't know enough about gymnastics to say that.
Which one? You got the balance beam, which that seems difficult. I guess the vault, running full speed and then jumping onto.
That one seems pretty high impact, but just the floor, the open floor where she gets 7 feet off the air, it looks like. I can't imagine landing on that. So high impact.
Have you ever been on one of those gymnastics floors?
No, I haven't.
They're not like a normal floor. There's a little bit of spring to it. You're not just on a pad, but it is impressive. It is. Did you get a chance to see the trampoline competitions?
Can't say I did. No.
You're gonna have to dial into those other channels on the Olympics, the ones that break into random, and it's
Trampolining is a sport.
It is a full-on Olympic sport. They just jump up and down, and
It's insane.
and they have an X or a couple of lines in the middle of the trampoline, so they have to kind of stay within this square. They get graded on where they land, but we're talking about 8-9 flips when they hit up, and they're going 40 feet up in the air, man.
Oh wow. Well, that does sound like some good cardio. And headline zero. Headline zero, the probably biggest one in San Antonio for the water coolers, is updated Spurs salary numbers as per Paul Garcia from Project Spurs, who has a big old spreadsheet and he keeps up with all of the potential numbers. With the numbers that he has, he estimates the Spurs have $28.4 million left, enough for a John Collins max offer in cap space. And if the Spurs were to pull Keita Bates-Diop's qualifying offer, that would put them just a little over $30 million available to use. And those are the headlines you need to know in the 2-1-0.
Carl's countdown complete. Thank you, Carl. All right, let's talk about the same thing.
Okay, I have
put on
seen
the
that
chain.
before. As
Grab the chain.
Pledger goes ahead and pulls out the video here for me to see the jumping. What did I do wrong?
That was the Carl's countdontdown. You do
Carl's
the
countdown,
you do the
4-1-1 and the 2-1-0.
That's
I just said the headlines you need to know in the 2-1-0. That's interchangeable, isn't it?
I'm going to need a ruling. I'm a judge from outside. I'm going to need a ruling on this. Hey, if you want to talk Spurs, the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are open for your disposal. 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Are you happy? Did you wake up today going, well, at least we did something, which I think that in itself is a monumental step for the Spurs. 2 free agent signings the same night when free agency began. Not since LaMarcus have we even concerned ourselves with free agency. And apart from the LaMarcus signing, this is the biggest free agency day I can remember in Spurs history.
When so much of that history is who are the Spurs going to sign with their mid-level exception because they have 3 all-stars in Tim, Tony, and Manu. Yeah, I think recent history is the LaMarcus Aldridge, and here when the Spurs have all of this cap space, and it's not even done yet because what they do this offseason with that remaining $30 million is still very much unknown. Do you bring back DeMar? Do you maybe take that salary cap to get a trade such as a Dame Lillard or a Ben Simmons? And I know when I say Dame Lillard, it sparks a not happening. It is happening. It's something that is potentially a future reality. We just might not be in that dimension.
Okay, it ain't happening. That ain't happening in this reality. It ain't happening in any other reality. He's in a small market. He ain't coming to another one.
He doesn't get to decide. He has the Supermax contract.
He
if
gets
Portland
to
wants
decide.
Oh no, he doesn't.
Oh, my young naive friend.
If Portland wants
Dame
DeJounte
Lillard
Murray,
will tell them where he will go. He ain't gonna get sent lock, stock, and barrel.
Take it from someone who just lost James Harden. They're going to tell you where they're going.
It is a different strata when you're dealing with that. Let's be real.
Kawhi was sent to Toronto.
Sent?
He was banished. He was sent out of the country. They knew that West Coast boy hates the cold, and they sent him to the coldest, furthest north they could.
They got DeMar. It was the best deal they could. It was either that or Kuzma and Brandon Ingram. They got the best deal.
That was a good deal.
Yeah, they got a better deal than what they got. The best deal. I appreciate what you're saying, and I'd like to think that the league has some control over your superstars, but they don't. If Dame wants to leave, he'll name his place. And if he doesn't want to go someplace, nobody going to make a deal for an angry Dame and a $200 million contract.
He has been spending a lot of time with Greg Popovich lately.
I mean, I love your youthful exuberance. I'd like to think that is possible. I'd like to think that Pop's having wine with him all over Tokyo and discussing the possibilities of the great San Antonio Spurs, the reborn with a guard like him. It ain't happening. I like the idea. I'm with you.
Does Dame get traded this offseason?
I think that Portland is going to do everything they possibly can to, and then in about a year, he'll be gone. I think they're going to valiantly effort to keep him around for a year, but when they come to realize that no matter what they do, they can't surround Dame with enough to win a championship, they're going to erase the board and start over and send him to the Knicks.
They haven't come to the Knicks were the potential opportunity for what I was saying into their cap space, but the Knicks re-signed all their free agents. They went out and got Reggie Bullock and Evan Fournier, and that's no longer really a possibility.
I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about next year. I'm talking about years from now. I think Portland's going to throw in everything they can to keep him happy. They went and got his coach, survived the maelstrom of Chauncey Billups and the accusations from back early in his career. They knew that was coming. They passed up on Becky Hammond because it's all about right now. And they're going to do what they can over the next 2 years to keep him happy. They're going to find out that no matter what they do, they can't get past Denver. They can't get past Utah. They can't get past Phoenix. And they certainly can't get past the Lakers. And then they're going to erase the board and start over like every other NBA team does every 4 or 5 years.
And I think in a last-ditch effort, they're going to trade CJ McCollum and a bunch of picks for Ben Simmons to try and appease him by bringing in another superstar.
I think that is going to happen in the near term as Ben Simmons sits out there. I just don't see a short-term success for Portland, but I do think the combination is worth an effort. And then they're going to try it, and 1 or 2 of those guys will be gone because it's a valiant effort, but it won't be enough. I'd like to think that Spurs had an opportunity to go get a Dame Lillard, but it's just, I've seen it happen too many times. The LaMarcuses are the man bites dog. It just doesn't happen very often. I like your exuberance, though.
I was just saying with the $30 million the Spurs have left, and I immediately said that was unlikely, but it's a possibility because Brian Wright goes ahead and offers a 4 years of draft compensation to Portland. Do they really want to hold out for a better opportunity and they could just start the rebuild with this Chauncey Billups era?
Chauncey was brought in to coach Dame. They re-signed Norman Powell with the expectation that CJ will be gone. And Dame, Norman Powell, and Ben Simmons, I think, is going to be the lineup they're going to try next year. Seems to make sense. And it'll fail. I don't think it'll work.
And I don't see the 76ers making a trade for CJ McCollum. If that is the best available with their really high asking price for Ben Simmons to get other assets involved, yeah, okay, I guess. But they don't need to add a CJ McCollum. They need to probably add somebody more along the lines of, I would say DeMar DeRozan and wing defenders. They need to get some wing defenders in there to fill the Danny Green void, because when Danny Green went down in the playoffs, that really hurt them in the Atlanta series.
How high are you on Tybal?
Matisse? Oh, he's great.
He's just about the best on-ball defender coming down the pike. I think he's going to be a tremendous defensive player.
You need a couple of those, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't argue with anything that you just said. And I think that CJ McCollum would help them. I think they do need they need to make sure that they clear that paint. Let Joel Embiid have lots of room to work. And CJ McCollum helps to do that. And they kept Korkmaz, right? Furkan is still there.
He signed a $3 or $15 million
good shooter.
Deal yesterday.
Surround him with shooters. Embiid's got passing ability. Don't discount where Philadelphia can go. But I think that they're going to have to exit Ben Simmons to go there.
He hasn't demanded a trade. It hasn't come out publicly. But when Rich Paul through Woj says they are in step with Philadelphia, that's just a nice way of saying, see what you can do to get me a change of scenery. And, of course, Daryl Morey is going to be asking for the moon. And maybe in a month or two when all the free agent dust settles, it's half a moon.
Do you believe that it'll take that long for Simmons to move, that it'll be longer than this week?
Yeah, probably. But sometime before August 30th. I would say this month is, if he's being moved before the season, this month.
Ben Simmons is the last of the dominoes. Don't you figure once that move occurs, the NBA offseason will be basically over?
Yeah, that's the big last move, because everybody's doing their free agent thing right now, seeing what they could get without giving up too many assets. And he's up there as a potential asset. Another player that you could potentially put into the Spurs salary cap, more or less, if they don't get a free agent with that money, Kristaps Porzingis.
Boy, I appreciate Pop's fixation with Kristaps because he's everything he's always chased in a big. He does all of that, but he is a unicorn and he's an injured unicorn. I've softened on my Kristaps stance. I think if he's put in the right situation and allowed to do the things that he's good and not forced to do anything else, I think he would help the Spurs because it's not working out in Dallas. It's just a matter of time there. So if it did come to pass, because while Zach Collins is a project, one that I hope pays off, but it's a small investment for a big return. They're still looking for another big. I think there'll be another big on this roster when the season starts. I just don't know who or how it's going to come, how they're going to come by him.
Exactly. And I think it is probably somebody who's a little more well-rounded. I'm sorry for the Markkanen blasphemy than Lauri Markkanen, because Markkanen is a straight shooter, rebounds a little bit. His defense has been questionable. And I think if they go after a Ben Simmons, even if they have to give up a little bit more and you don't get the shooting of Ben Simmons, you get somebody who is a rebounder and defender and can push the break, kind of really run with these young guys. I'd love to see what Ben Simmons does with this roster if the Spurs can swing it without giving up too many of the current roster they have set up.
Don't you dare talk about Lauri Markkanen.
Well, let me tell you,
if
you have a Ben Simmons, you have to have a Doug McDermott and a Lauri Markkanen on your team. If you have a Ben Simmons, you have to go get snipers. You have to, because he is not going to do it. So suddenly you've only got 4 potential shooters on your team, and the defense knows that. The only time Ben's ever going to shoot is if he's in the paint. Everybody else could worry about your guys on the edge. He's not going to take the shot. So when he makes the pass, the easy double is leave him and go find it. Pick him up when he hits the paint, when he crashes the boards. If you're going to get a Ben Simmons, you have to have a Doug McDermott. You have to have a Lauri Markkanen. That's how you succeed with Ben Simmons. You have to have more shooting, more snipers than you would ordinarily have to go for, because you have to compensate for the offense that you're losing. Now, he's still generating offense. It's just in a different box. The offense he's generating is in the assist box. It's not in the total points box. So he's still going to be valuable, but you have to make him more valuable. Those buckets need to be 3s instead of 2s. And if you put him on a team like that, I think Ben Simmons becomes everything that we thought he was going to be. And then suddenly that confidence gets a little bit easier to shoot. The Spurs are in a pretty good position to be at least in contention to go get him if they want him. There's a lot. What you said that Philadelphia needs, we got a whole bunch of those guys.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of those guys. And they all look alike. I mean, they're all about between 6'5" and 6'8" long, slasher, perimeter defender, fast break oriented, learning to shoot kind of guys. That fits what Philly needs. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ben Simmons land right here, especially with that primo pick. It certainly felt like it was possible. Hey, I want to remind everybody today in the Blitz, 6 o'clock is the ESPN San Antonio injury update, the San Antonio Sports Star injury update with the docs at TSOOG. The questions regarding Zach Collins' feet, I'm sure, will be addressed. You want to make sure you tune into that. You know the Spurs did their due diligence. You know that they had that foot looked at by probably more than one physician, foot specialists, and everybody else getting some medical history, because you don't go pay a guy $22 million who's only played 11 games in 2 years without giving some kind of assurance. Let's find out about that injury, and I'm sure Jason and the good docs over from the Sports Institute at TSAOG will address that. We come back, let's look at the Dallas Cowboys. They're in full prep for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're only 2 days away, heading toward the Hall of Fame game. What are the Steelers bringing to the table, and what can we expect from a Garrett Gilbert-led offense? We'll talk Dallas Cowboys next. Make sure you get your Olympic update as well. Hang around with us. It's halftime. And this is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Football in America is a special game, a unique game played like nowhere else on earth. It's a rare game, and the men that play it make it so. Prescott, Elliott, Cooper, and Coach Mike McCarthy. And today these men walk the gridiron with one thing in common, with one mission between them: winning. The Dallas Cowboys play here on the home of the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Score points with some of the boldest keto-friendly, protein-packed, and low-carb snacks out there. And with their new Southern Recipe small batch 6-bag variety pack, you'll get to choose a different flavored pork rind every time. Find Southern Recipe small batch at your local H-E-B, and you'll always have pork rinds ready to go. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
While most water providers do a pretty good job making sure they exceed EPA guidelines, did you know EPA standards for tap water have not been updated in almost 20 years? With growing concerns of our aging infrastructure, more homeowners want to take their water quality into their own hands. That is why you should call Alamo Water Softeners and have them give you a free water analysis. Some chemicals and contaminants are undetectable. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Farming demands well-built equipment. Kubota equipment that's proven for over a century. Tractors that are adaptable and versatile. Hay tools backed by a 2-year warranty. Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. And productive SSV skid steers. Visit your local Kubota dealer for a demo today.
From the Gulf of Mexico to the hill country of Texas, Ewald Kubota is your Kubota dealer.
Save now on Pro Essentials with Lowe's Pro Summer Savings. Save on select appliance special values. Plus, save an additional $50 when you buy 2 or more appliances, each priced $396 or more. You'll also find savings on tools and more throughout the store. At Lowe's, the new home for pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount in store. Online must use promo code. Can't be combined with any other discounts. See Lowe's.com for exclusions and terms. Valid 7/15 through 8/4. U.S. only.
Are you stuck in a timeshare you want out of? Tired of wasting thousands of dollars? The Titan Exit Group wants to give you a free consultation on how you can be legally released from your timeshare contract. Stop the mortgage payments, cancel the never-ending maintenance fees, and terminate your timeshare. Call for your free consultation now at 800-200-0894. Get legally released from your timeshare. The call and consultation are absolutely free. Call 800-200-0894. 800-200-0894.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late. And that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, San Antonio Sports Star listeners, this is Michael Kielbasa with Kielbasa Smoked Meats. Thanks to fans like you, you can now buy Kielbasa products just about everywhere. We hope you continue to enjoy our handcrafted, small batch smoked meats because we sure enjoy making them for you. So grab some today and let me know what you think. My number's on the back of every pack. Right by my promise that if it's not the best you've ever tasted, I'll give you your money back. Find Kielbasa at a store near you today.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you looking for a job where you can have tons of fun and make great money? Twin Peaks is the team for you. We're looking for Twin Peaks girls, cooks, bussers, barbacks, and more. Text WORK 4TP to 85000 to apply. That's WORK, the number 4 TP to 85000 to apply.
It's halftime with Rob Thompson and Carl Schoening on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Halftime. He's Carl Schoening. I'm Rob Thompson. Get your electrolytes up. Grab a power bar. Check your first half numbers.
Can I get some orange slices?
Go get your orange slices. Team Mom brought a good one. Good package. These are the kinds without seeds. We're all happy with these. And the good juice boxes.
Oh, the cuties?
Yeah, the cuties. They're here. Welcome aboard. The Dallas Cowboys get the first game on Thursday night, kicking off the NFL season. They got a couple of firsts. They get to play the first game of the regular season, too, getting ready for Tampa Bay and the 44-year-old Tom Brady. Happy birthday to, I was going to say the luckiest man alive, but it ain't luck. Happy birthday to the GOAT. I'm jealous, but hey, I'm living a pretty good life, too.
The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Words to live by. But happy birthday to Tampa, or to Tampa Tom. Cowboys getting ready for the Steelers, and it's been we have remarked on it over and over, Carl. And you're an Eagles fan. You're used to a fair amount of controversy, of off-season upheaval. It's the Eagles. You got an angry fan base. Everybody wants to get better. Cowboys thrive in that. In fact, it's strange when you're dealing with the Cowboys and there's no drama. There's nobody holding out. Nobody needs to get paid. There's nobody with any other kind of drama happening. There's always been that. Right now, the Cowboys over the last 6 months have been pretty calm.
That's because they went through that for the last 3 years with Amari Cooper, Zeke, and Dak.
Yeah, well, they've been going through it for 20 years. Before that, it was the catch and did he catch it, and players and broken bones and, drug suspensions. I mean, it's just the Cowboy way. And this year, the drama-free offseason, well, we get to begin on Thursday. Now, there won't be any Dak. And I guess that's the most drama we're going to deal with is Dak and his shoulder. It will be Garrett Gilbert. The offensive line is going to be and this is not saying anything outside of the norm. Offensive line is going to be the linchpin of this season. Offensive line performs. The offense does what we expect them to do. And by the way, CeeDee Lamb,
baller.
He's having an extraordinary camp to the extent when you talk with people, and we were there, we watched it. There is CeeDee Lamb and his camp and how well he looks, and everybody else, regardless of position. CeeDee right now looks like the best receiver the Cowboys have had in camp since a young Dez. I mean, he really is dominating the game against an improved, at least we assume, a greatly improved defensive backfield.
What did he fall to? 17? I know the Eagles almost picked him up, and I was so mad that the Cowboys got him right before the Eagles. He shouldn't have fallen as low as he did, is what I'm getting at. CeeDee Lamb is just electric. He might actually be, and it's hard to do this in football, say this objectively, I suppose, he might be the best player on the Cowboys.
He certainly has the highest ceiling, as we said. As we were getting ready for the show, we doing our prep, Carl and I were talking about the Cowboys, and we were looking at the running game, talking about Zeke and this offensive line, and what this offense will look like, fully functioning with a quarterback, with Kellen Moore with another year of Mike McCarthy's influence in the offense that we're going to run. We know that McCarthy hasn't been a big ball control guy, but he's had Aaron Rodgers, who would be. But the running game for the Cowboys, when we last saw a 13-3 record, it was the running game first. Run first, dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides, and own it. Defensive line could be there. D-Law is having a pretty good camp despite being hurt, but it's that offensive line. They're going to get tested against the Steelers, and it's a good test. But the good news, it's against Garrett Gilbert. If we see this Cowboys offense sputter under a backup, we've talked a lot about going and getting another one if need be, or is it even worth the investment? Would you go spend money thinking, if I've got a Dak that's already got a sore shoulder, I've got an offensive line that I expect to be relatively healthy, and maybe there's some depth there with the two Connors and Terrence Steele and the improvement there over last year with all those guys that got some playing time that they didn't expect to get. Is it worth going and spending that last bit of money that the Cowboys have on a Nick Foles-esque? I'm just saying.
He's with Chicago, by the way. You can't sign him.
He is soon going to be. He might not, but a Nick Foles-esque, an experienced, relatively expensive backup quarterback like what they did last year. Would you do it? Is it worth the effort?
I'm just doing a quick Google search on free agents to see who's available. Ryan Fitzpatrick. I feel like that's not right.
No, Ryan is
he got signed. Yeah.
Starting quarterback for the Washington football team.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why this hasn't been updated, what I'm looking at right now. But who do you sign? Who would you not already have on a roster at this point?
You look at backup quarterbacks that float around the league. The likes of them, like Mike Glennon. I mean, those guys that are here in the league, not so much because of their talent, but because of what they bring to the locker room. And the coach's belief that these guys that have just enough experience can give us at least a win, one game, maybe two.
More than Garrett Gilbert.
Well, I don't have a lot of trust in Garrett Gilbert.
More than Ben DiNucci.
I don't have a lot of trust in Ben DiNucci, but I also go into the season seeing what happened last year. And it didn't matter whether Andy Dalton was in, a highly experienced backup that should have been a starter. If your offensive line is a sieve, it doesn't matter who's back there.
If Taysom Hill ends up winning that starting job in New Orleans, do you call about Jameis?
No.
No? Okay.
No. That's way too much money. And there is no possible way that Jameis isn't the starting quarterback. I think Taysom Hill's going to do a little bit, but how many passes did he throw last year? 3?
He was more of a utility knife than he was a.
You think that's going to
actual
be a starting
backup.
quarterback? But we digress with the Cowboys. I think that's a question that we're going to have to talk about on Friday.
I think if Dak doesn't play, the Cowboys are screwed. Why go ahead and find somebody that you think might be better than Garrett Gilbert and ruin any progress Garrett Gilbert has as the backup quarterback?
I think that's a valid statement, but the fact of the matter is Garrett Gilbert is disposable.
Oh, sure. Most backup quarterbacks are.
And I don't expect him ever to even be working toward being a starting NFL quarterback. So he can age into the Mike Glennon-ness of I'm a backup quarterback because I'm a backup quarterback and I can float around for 20 years. Who's the assistant coach with the Texans that's been a backup quarterback for 17 different
Josh
teams?
McCown.
Josh McCown.
Isn't Colt McCoy still around? Colt McCoy's got a job.
That's the kind of guy I'm talking about.
Oh,
the Cowboys
definitely
need that.
Get Colt.
Well, so I'm just talking about a guy with experience. Do you go spend the money or do you go, the best thing we can do is just hold that in reserve because at some point we're going to need to fill a position that's really valuable, that we can plug a hole that will help us win. Because without a quarterback, it doesn't matter. It does. Without Dak for 3 weeks, the season's done.
That's the point I'm getting at. Might as well hope that Garrett Gilbert evolves into that career backup that you hope to find.
What happens if he throws 3 interceptions and looks completely befuddled against the Steelers? Where's your attitude about finding a backup quarterback then?
Well, that's why we have these preseason games to try and solidify these roles.
But what's your attitude? Do you stay with Nooch? Do you try another young guy or do you go get a guy?
If Nick Foles is available, he is probably the biggest name that always gets tossed around. But I think he also is in a big contract that he got from Jacksonville, I believe.
If I'm the Colts, I go get Nick Foles.
Just to mess with Carson
I have
Wentz?
to go get him. I just have to. Well, you tell the Colts fans, look, it's worked one time before. Look at Philadelphia. They're still celebrating. Go get you Nick Foles. He doesn't have to run restaurants yet. He's still a Bear, though, as we said.
Yeah.
Seen the highlights on how quarterback for the Bears is looking? You seen any? They're telling me he looks good. Has anybody seen actual film highlights of Bears quarterback? No?
Which one? Justin Fields or Andy
Fields.
Dalton?
I was saying Andy. Fields. Evidently, he's making throws.
Well,
I think there'll be a quarterback available there. I think his name's going to be Nick Foles.
Nick Foles is definitely the guy that if you are looking for a backup, he has a Super Bowl championship again. He outdueled Tom Brady, for goodness sake. So you want somebody like that. You think that that's what you want. You know that it's probably going to end bad, but it's better to have a name to make your fans feel a little more confident, your teammates feel a little more confident.
Do you think Nick Foles brings confidence? I
guarantee you.
Here's what I'm trying to guard against what I'm about to say. I think the Cowboys are going to surprise. I really do.
In terms of if everybody's healthy?
I think the team's going to start out healthy and they're going to beat a couple of good teams early in the season and teams are going to start talking about them. And I think there's going to be a momentum about week 10 to make a decision to charge toward deep into the playoffs. I do. I think health is this is a team that I have not seen look the way that they do in 4 years. It's an exciting look. And I think that this weekend will be a good barometer on this offensive line. Hall of Fame game. You'll catch it right here on San Antonio Sports Star. We get your pregame going at 6. Get the entirety of the game. And, of course, Dallas Cowboy football is always brought to you by Ewald Kubota. Tune in on Thursday. Need $500, Carl?
I could take it.
You could win $500 right now for your school or charity in the San Antonio Sports Star Back to School Cash Contest. Easy to win. Go to sasportstar.com. Follow the tabs. Get yourself signed up, and you could win $500 for your school or your favorite charity and San Antonio Sports Star Back to School Cash Contest. Register at sasportstar.com. Hey, coming back, it's an Olympic countdown. Simone, well, she got on the beam. We'll get you all caught up, and guess what? There's a showdown coming on Wednesday. Team USA versus those Aussies. Hang around. It's halftime, and you're on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Here's pitch. W Power. W Fun. W Rangers Pleasure. The explosive action happens here on the official home plate of the Texas Rangers. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
I'm James Pudger. In an NBA free agency, the Spurs came to an agreement on a 3-year, $42 million deal with forward Doug McDermott and a 3-year, $22 million deal with forward Zach Collins yesterday to kick off free agency. After 4 seasons in San Antonio, Rudy Gay has a new home in free agency as he's reportedly agreed to a 2-year, $12.1 million deal with the Utah Jazz. Team USA is advanced to Olympic play as they beat Spain 95-81, led by Kevin Durant's 29 points. They face Patty Mills and the Australian national team tomorrow night at 11:15 in the semifinals. In Major League Baseball, the Rangers won their 3rd straight as they took their series opener with the Angels 4-1, a series they continue tonight with first pitch set for 7:05, a game you can catch right here on your home for Rangers baseball, while the Astros return to action after the day off to open up a series in LA with the Dodgers with first pitch set for 9:10. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
O'Reilly. Do you even remember the last time you changed your spark plugs? Well, then now's a good time. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase 4 or more select Iridium spark plugs. Put the pep back in your car. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it, fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/radio to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/radio. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Don't let a slick Willie or some Johnny come lately throw you a fast one. Go with a trusted pro you can count on. Your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer is trained to be the best. Quality service before and after installation. American Standard Air.
Ask the pros at Aramendia about their exclusive Advantage program. American Standard equipment installed, worry-free, maintenance included for one low monthly price.
ARAMENDIA, Aramendia.
License number THCLA 447668.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Hi, welcome to Smoky Mo's.
At Smoky Mo's Barbecue, we smoke our meats fresh, in-house, each and every day. We think it makes all the difference in the quality of our moist, flavorful brisket and turkey, and the mouth-watering tenderness of our ribs and pork loin. Got a crowd? We've got group packs and full-service catering. Up early? We've got made-to-order breakfast tacos. Find your store at SmokyMo'sBarbecue.com and come see us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Smoky Mo's Barbecue. The pit is lit.
Save now on Pro Essentials with Lowe's Pro Summer Savings. Save on select appliance special values. Plus, save an additional $50 when you buy 2 or more appliances, each price $396 or more. You'll also find savings on tools and more throughout the store. At Lowe's, the new home for pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount in store. Online must use promo code. Can't be combined with any other discounts. See Lowe's.com for exclusions and terms. Valid 7/15 through 8/4. U.S. only.
Meet Bob Minetti. In 2016, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Bob participated in a clinical trial that included cutting-edge radiation therapy and surgery. He's been in remission since completion. I'm Keisha Sharp. Since losing my mother to pancreatic cancer, I've been working to share the kind of state-of-the-art work being done by Stand Up to Cancer and Lustgarten Foundation. To learn more about the latest research, including clinical trials, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
At CDW, we get that a cyborg assistant won't make your employees more productive from home.
Please, call me Brian.
I can vacuum your dog.
That's great. But at CDW, we can design a productivity solution with Lenovo devices that offer fast, reliable connectivity to help your people manage their workloads the right way.
Can I have a human hug?
No. For technology that moves you forward, trust Lenovo and IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Learn more at cdw.com/Lenovo Client.
The Dallas Cowboys kick off the NFL preseason against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Hall of Fame game. Thursday night. Coverage starts at 6 on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hi, it's Jason Minix from The Blitz. You're listening to San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Halftime. Carl Schoening and Rob Thompson with you on a good old Tuesday afternoon. Ease into your lunch break. We got you for another hour and 10 minutes. Olympics continuing, and it is track and field time. Did anybody catch that 400-meter race? That was compelling television. Compelling. Was that a world record? I think it was. Norwegian 400-meter race. I think. Anybody else catch that? No?
What? I don't have TV at the moment. I am a cord cutter. I do have access to Peacock through my parents as I mooch off that because they said they were going to get it for the Olympics. So thank you to them. Because I was out in Mexico when all of the Olympic sports that I was interested started. So I come back and I watched Peacock last night.
You're talking about the 400-meter hurdles, right?
Yeah, the 400-meter hurdles
400-meter
yesterday.
hurdles.
That was just compelling. It was great. Track and field to me. I have one question. There was Puerto Rico gets to field their own Olympic team?
Yes, sometimes American territories such as the Virgin Islands also do that.
I have no problem with that, but I do think their medal count should be added into the U.S.'s. Shouldn't we just combine that all in there? I have no problem with it.
I don't know how they work it since they're not technically states, but I do know that Tim Duncan wanted to play for the Virgin Islands, and because he had already played for Team USA, they did not allow it.
I wonder who they is. Who are the suits that said no?
Whoever is in charge of Team USA overall, I suppose. You can only choose one. Are you a Virgin Islander or are you an American?
Well, you can. Well, he's American Virgin Islands, right?
Yes.
Do they have an Olympic team?
They do now. They didn't in 2004 when Tim played.
Well, I think if you're part of the United States Protectorate, whether you're part of the Guamanian Olympic contingency or the Puerto Rican, you get to have your own team. I'm down. You're representing your home land, however, but lump the medals in with the U.S. A little something. We're helping out.
Is this because we're behind in total gold to China?
Yes, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Also, I last night I watched a girl run in the Olympic. I mean, obviously the Olympics win, and she was running. She's obviously American and chose the Puerto Rican team in honor of her mother, which is great. I'm down for running for Puerto Rico, but I think that gold medal should be slid into the U.S. count. That's just me, though.
We can go ahead and do a Rob Thompson count just for you.
Well, from now on, when I ask for our Olympic numbers, just combine the Puerto Rican team to make me feel better because I think we should. I'm an American exceptionalist. I think we should
all
be
the
number
Canadian
one.
teams are playing in America right now anyway. In the professional sports, do we just take theirs too?
No, but the Canadians aren't American.
But they're playing here. You had the Raptors playing here. You had the Blue Jays playing here. You had the Lightning or all the Canadian hockey team.
I'll take their money. I'm not going to give them any kind of. You're not American. You're America's hat.
I have thought about that we should overrule Canada and just take over Canada, part of the United States. We'll talk about that later, though.
We're already there. We got Alaska. I mean, we might as well just take the whole thing.
Carl's trying to start a war. I'm trying to be inclusive. I'm trying to, get the Puerto Ricans on board, get them on our team. We're allowing you to just share a medal. Guam, said it this way. It's just a thought. Team USA is on a showdown path. We're 0-2 against the Aussies the last two times we've played, and Patty Mills has put a number on his former coach or his current coach. I say former because it could very well be former by the time Patty Mills comes back. There's lots of rumors regarding him landing in either Boston or maybe Brooklyn. Where else is Patty being talked about?
The Lakers want him, I think. The Lakers want anybody that's above average and will come for a minimum contract at this point.
If you'll take a minimum, you get to play.
Of course, you can also star in LeBron's next movie to compensate.
They've beaten us 2 straight times.
They should be taken seriously. The appropriate fear, as Pop likes to say, should be at the highest, and then Slovenia could be waiting afterwards with Luka. So this will be a tough medal round for Team USA, I imagine.
I think Pop set the table perfectly. He lowered expectations. I don't think he did half of, he used those entry games as preseason games, unveiled third of the playbook. And then just hope that over enough reps that Durant and Dame and Book and Levine and all the other guys that are capable of scoring get used to that ball, start making buckets. Last night we saw Kevin Durant get hot, let Ricky Rubio get 38, and the rest of the team, high score was 16. Only 3 guys in double figures, only 7 guys scored. I'm sure Patty Mills looked at that defense and thought, here we go. This is my chance.
Rubio played like a man possessed. He was the best player on both ends of the court last night or this morning, whatever time you want to say that actually happened.
He's got swag. I've always appreciated Rubio's game, but 38 points, that was by design.
No, he just balled out like that. He really did have a great game, and nobody else on the Spaniard team was having a great game, so he had to carry the load, and I think that's the best game Ricky Rubio has ever played that I've seen him play.
I remember Pop, whenever we'd play Russell, when he was in his heyday, triple-double every game, Oklahoma City years, that it was just let Russell go be Russell. Just let him go get 40. It doesn't matter. As long as nobody else contributes, let him go. I think Pop pulled that out. We'll guard Rudy, but we're not going to double onto him. And as long as he's not passing, as long as he's not also accounting for other guys, and he wasn't, he played right into the trap. Go get 38, man. He has to be good enough to go get it. And he is. But I do think that was by design. You're going to tell me that they
tell
decided,
that to Drew Holiday.
Yeah, you're going to tell me they decided not to put Drew Holiday and lock him down like he has done 50 times in the past?
He did. Holiday and Dame were the two on him, and obviously Dame is the worst defender of the two. But it's not like Ricky Rubio isn't a NBA veteran and the best player on Spain, and he needed to do that performance just to keep it respectable because Claver was the only other starter to score for Spain. You got nothing out of the Gasol brothers, and Spain this was their last hoorah. They wanted to get a medal for their legendary guys, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Rubio might have one more Olympics in him the way they play.
Maybe. He's got swag. He's a lot of fun to watch. And
good pickup for Cleveland. They picked him up in yesterday's flurry of transactions.
Maybe he'll be a good mentor for the young bull. We're going to talk about free agency. Cleveland made news, and they paid Jared Allen. We thought they had chased him. We thought that was part of the deal that they made, though it did appear that maybe Jared Allen could escape. Nope, they're going to pay him and others. Let's look around the rest of the NBA. Did Chicago improve enough? The Knicks are standing pat. Lowry is in Miami. Russell's in L.A. And McBuckets is a Spur. We'll look around the NBA and free agency as it continues here on halftime. And this is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
San Antonio Sports Star is throwing a launch party Olympics at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar in the Medical Center. That's Thursday, August 12th, starting at 4 p.m. Medals will be given, and you'll have a chance to win Visa gift cards and more. Come compete against the San Antonio Sports Star crew. Win you some prizes. We're going to play some beer pong, some darts, some Pop-A-Shot. That's Thursday, August 12th, starting at 4 p.m. Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar in the Medical Center. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At CDW, we get that a cyborg assistant won't make your employees more productive from home.
Please, call me Brian. I can vacuum your dog.
That's great. But at CDW, we can design a productivity solution with Lenovo devices that offer fast, reliable connectivity to help your people manage their workloads the right way.
Can I have a human hug?
No. For technology that moves you forward, trust Lenovo and IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Learn more at cdw.com/Lenovo Client.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with British accents. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, take it from a Brit.
Oi, bum scummy insurance blokes filching dosh out your pocket. It's balmy. Liberty Mutual won't leave you skint, mate.
Can you just say Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need?
I think that's what I said, you blooming.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio, like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Yes, radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm gonna let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
Nya, nya, nya. Ba, ba. Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to progressive could save big.
Cool. I just got to finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
First comes love, then comes sparkle, and that's where Diamonds Direct comes in. Engagement ring shopping is so easy at Diamonds Direct. Step 1, choose your perfect diamond. Step 2, choose your setting. Step 3, relax. Your Diamonds Direct engagement ring comes with a free lifetime warranty. That's no charge ever for sizing, cleaning, and routine maintenance. Step 4, the most important one. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Rob Thompson. Carl Schoening. Halftime.
Welcome aboard halftime. Drop the. It's just halftime. He's Carl Schoening. I'm Rob Thompson. James Pledger driving this boat. NBA free agency front and center. We have a nice discussion regarding Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, the off-traveled.
The enigma of a player.
He is back with the Lakers.
He signed one of those minimum contracts that they're giving to any above-average NBA player that wants to be in LeBron's next movie.
Most underrated and overrated player of all time.
It was infuriating having him as Joel Embiid's backup last year because he would come out, play hard, give a lot of energy, and do good things. And then he would come out, play hard, give a lot of energy, and do a lot of bad things. So you just didn't know what you were getting, except he's going to be an energetic, athletic, defensive-minded dude. And I think that's what they need out there in Los Angeles.
To fill his spot on the bench, Doc Rivers is, or I guess Daryl Morey more appropriate, Andre Drummond coming to play some backup.
What an interesting story that was, because he was, I don't know if you kept up with Andre Drummond on Twitter. He was trying to really lobby hard to come back to Los Angeles to the point where he changed his name and sold shirts of Kareem Abdul-Drummond or Andre Jabbar Drummond, something like that. And it was kind of sad. And I figure I didn't see the actual terms. This has to be a minimum contract because somebody who make over $20 million a year is now very low on the totem pole because the game is no longer favoring those centers that can't really stretch the floor anymore.
Let's talk point guards in the NBA. Don't forget tonight, Texas Rangers baseball. Yes, San Antonio Sports Stars, your home for Texas Rangers baseball, brought to you by New Breaks Mobile Break Repair. The Rangers are going for their fourth straight win. They continue their series with the Angels. We'll get your first pitch at 7:05 right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FDN. Always brought to you by New Breaks Mobile Brake Repair. The Rangers stole home last night.
Do we have a
hottest team in Texas?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Do we have a Stein bomb? What do we call it when Mark Stein tweets something?
Too bad Woj is taken. Steinbaum's not bad. What do we have at the Mark Steinbaum?
Hey, as of 1:05 p.m., which is just now, so only a few seconds ago, among the options that have emerged for DeMar DeRozan is a sign and trade to Chicago. Yeah, I see James Pledger jumping for joy. You can watch him jump for joy on Facebook Live and YouTube. Just look up halftime. But yeah, that's Mark Stein at 1:05. That is the most we've heard from DeMar since a little while, at least. I don't know, but we'll go ahead and see what happens with that.
When we hear DeMar's name mentioned, we're going to hear the Bulls. We're going to hear Philadelphia. We're going to hear Miami. I do think we might hear a West Coast team. I think just to see how DeMar fits in with the Clippers. But I do think we're going to hear several names and teams. No talk on Kelly Oubre. What do you think? What's Golden State doing there? Do you think the Spurs are still kind of behind the scenes looking for Kelly Oubre, or was the pickup of picking McDermott up and Collins up and Primo enough not to go after Oubre? Or do you think if there is a 4-team deal or a big team deal, Oubre would be involved and land with San Antonio?
I think McDermott is the role you were expecting out of Oubre. A 3-and-D type of guy with a better 3. Not as good D, not as athletic, but definitely serviceable who will come off the bench.
DeMar in Chicago. We wait with bated breath to see if Lauri Markkanen can end up here. And if that happens, if the Spurs end up with Lauri Markkanen, the praise of Brian Wright will begin. After it seemed like to us the stumble that was Josh Primo at 12 wasn't a stumble at all. That the plan was in the place.
Hey, and we get to see him in action tonight.
I'll tell you, I feel so bad for DeMar DeRozan. I really do. Because he's stuck out in this no man's land. He didn't want to be here. Spurs still kind of like him. He's already told everybody he'll come and play for a little bit less. Now all the money's taken, so a lot of MLEs are waiting for him. So he's going to go from, what was he getting, 27, something like that, down to maybe 10, 12 if he settles for something small. There's other teams out there would be happy to pay him, I think. But if he's going to chase a ring, a deal just about has to be in place now. For him to land where he wants to play in a position on a team that will be competitive like Miami, only way he's going to get paid is if there's player movement, not additions.
Got a question for you. Say the DeMar thing happens. He ends up in Chicago. What does a team with Vucevic, DeMar, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Lonzo Ball, where does that stack in the East? Because that feels like a really good team.
Alex Caruso, don't you forget the fighting Texas Aggie that signed for $34 million yesterday? That's a pretty good team. I don't know if they beat a healthy 76ers team, Ben Simmons or not. But I think that is a pretty solid team, and that's what Chicago's been fighting and striving to get towards since Derrick Rose got injured.
Yeah, Billy Donovan's a heck of a coach. We know what he can do.
Is that a top 4 team in the East?
You know,
they're not better than the Nets.
I'm going to withhold judgment.
I don't think they're better than the Knicks.
You don't think they're better than the Knicks?
They have the star power. I don't think they're better than the Knicks. That's a tough one.
I think they're even with the Knicks.
It's a coin toss. It really is. But I think there's something to be said about the team chemistry that New York built last year. Tom Thibodeau putting things together in New York.
Tibbs teams like to crash back to earth, though.
That's true. They do.
They like to overachieve and then come plummeting back down to earth.
But that's why they had Evan Fournier.
The Bulls GM is Mark Eversley. That's a hell of an offseason they put together. I think this team, you know, I've been talking about the Spurs when I want to finally be able to wrap my arms around this team. This is the team that we're going to take with us for a 2 or a 3 year run before we really start to have to decide whether we're going to make a major offer to a young guy or move him or all of that. I want to know that. And it looks like in one fell swoop, the Bulls have their guys. They went and get Ball, and they're going to make a move, it appears, with Markkanen. They've got a young point guard in Kobe White. They've got Zach LaVine. They've got Vucevic. They got everything to kind of get things going. I like where the Bulls are. Coming back to the Spurs, I don't think we're there. And if they keep DeMar, which is possible, I don't think it's likely, but I do think it's possible, we're still not going to have our team unless there is a Markkanen that lands. There is a Collins that lands.
John Collins. We already have one Collins land.
Truth, John. We'll wrap our arms around that team and take them with us. But I don't think we're there yet. I think we're close. If we land Lauri Markkanen, we're going to have to put a sign up for James Pledger because he started talking about this back in November. We were already looking. We saw this team back in November, and Pledger says we're going to have to get a shooter, and it was Lauri Markkanen. I'm going to give him all credit. So if it works out, what's the manifestation where you speak it into existence?
Oh, I'm willing this into existence.
I think James has spoken it into existence. You know, as we do a mid-halftime type of show, one of the ideas is we stay in-depth talking NBA free agency, but man does not live by NBA free agency alone. There are more things in the world, in heaven and earth, than just what you see. That's why Carl collates the news, gets you all the headlines that you can possibly have. It is time. Settle in for Carl's Countdown.
It is Carl's Countdown, not the 411 and the 210, but you can catch that every morning at the 10s or the teens, roughly, whenever Rob kicks it to me at 7, 8, and 9 on R&R in the morning. Headline number 2 for the headlines you need to know in San Antonio. U.S. women's national team Alex Morgan says that she is devastated by the Canada loss. Morgan Rapinoe says she is gutted. Is this the end of Team USA women's soccer as we know it?
Wow.
Is it the end of as we know it?
Fat and happy. That's all they are. It's not all over. They just took a kick to the gut. I was going to say nuts. That doesn't really apply, but they were fat, full, and happy. Everybody getting paid. Everybody's making commercials. They're finally on equal footing with the men in U.S. soccer. They're getting paid the right way. They've been on this world run. They're World Cup champs. It's okay to stumble in the Olympics. They're feeling good. The moment I saw Morgan Rapinoe kicking Subway sandwiches to people on commercials right before the Olympics. I'm sorry.
It's Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe.
All the same. Not really. And I'll put on the chain because they're ghosts. They're great. It ain't over. Rapinoe's one of the greatest, but they just weren't ready. They weren't hungry.
We'll have to see. So we move on. Headline 2, a change of scenery is just what a few Major League Baseball stars needed, it appears. Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, and Chris Bryant all hit home runs in their first games with their new teams. And I know you're not big on the MLB players shakeup, but it is good for these guys to go in for a situation that looks bleak into a contender possibility.
Boy, the Cubs, just like your Eagles, man.
Where are you going with it?
I'm just saying that was a team so high, so recently. Cubs are gone, man.
It happens sometimes in sports. Teams
so
fall
recently,
off.
the precipitous collapse. Dingers were made.
How do you think the Warriors feel after all their runs? They missed the playoffs 2 years straight.
Yeah, but they got an excuse. It's all wrapped up in a couple of Achilles tendons. You know, I think they're going to be right back. They haven't dismantled. In fact, how a team can not make the playoffs and improve with their manpower and their skill set is still beyond me. It's so funny that as we look toward next season and we look at what the Lakers have done and Phoenix holding on to Chris Paul and Utah holding on to Mike Conley and all the signings. We saw Denver hold on to Torrey. I believe they held on to him. We don't even talk about Golden State. They're not even in the conversation. We're talking Steph Curry about to sign a $200 million deal. You know it's coming past Dre Jones. That's a lot of talent on a team that has left the conversation.
Klay Thompson will be coming back after a 2-year absence as well.
Klay
so that'll
comes
be fun.
back. Well, that's the key, isn't it?
You would think so. Is he the same player after all those surgeries? 2 ACLs, I believe it is.
No, it's 2 Achilles. Isn't it an Achilles this time?
No,
it was an Achilles and an ACL.
Achilles and an ACL.
Don't even talk about it. And they're sitting on with a James Wiseman and a Kelly Oubre. They've got talent to spare, and we aren't even talking about it.
They also signed Otto Porter. But moving on, headline 0, and this is an interesting one. Yankees ace Garrett Cole tests positive for COVID-19 and will miss Tuesday's start. He is under league-mandated 10-day minimum of the COVID protocol, so we'll see when he actually comes back because the Yankees declined to reveal when he tested positive. But he will miss his start and possibly other future starts. And we're just seeing this in sports again. Not as bad as it was last year where entire teams would be broken out, as Cole seems to be limited here. But it's happening again, Rob.
He's positive, though, not showing any symptoms. Is that what we believe? I don't know.
They didn't release that. No. They actually did not release that, as I can tell.
10-day quarantine, couple positive tests. Get vaccinated. My goodness. Can't believe we're still having to say this. I'm sure he was and still tested positive, but he's not sick. Carl's countdown continues. We done? Is that over?
That was it. That was headline 3.
Let's talk point guards. Kyle Lowry is at Miami.
Yeah, nice 3-year, $90 million deal.
What do you think about Miami as we sit? We talked about Chicago. They're greatly improved. I don't think I'm not sure what they're going to look like initially, but I wouldn't want to play them in April.
Duncan Robinson returning to them for $90 million is the right deal. I'm glad the Spurs didn't do that. I like McDermott at 42 better than Duncan Robinson at 90 for the Spurs. Speaking about that, but it's a big pickup for them because that's one of their better shooters. Tyler Hero's in that conversation. Jimmy Butler, I think, ran out of gas last year. We shouldn't count the first-round knockout against Jimmy Butler. Hopefully Bam Adebayo comes back with some pop knowledge and wisdom. And you would think Eric Spoelstra's Heat would be ready to be one of those teams contending for top 4, fighting those Bulls to be a home court advantage team in the playoffs.
What do you think of Kyle Lowry? Are you a fan of his?
He's 35. He's older, but he can shoot. He's a scorer still. And I think this is his last chance to make a contender because he had the obvious ring that they won with Kawhi Leonard. And then he had the down year with the Raptors. And now he's gone with the Raptors. He gets his money, gets a change of scenery. He gets to go to South Beach. Good for him. I think he and Jimmy Butler will be energized.
PJ Tucker.
And a good pickup of PJ Tucker. They did grab him as well.
A lot of dogs there. PJ and Lowry. That's some dog there. This team is stealthy contending.
And they gave Jimmy Butler his contract extension. That was one of the several transactions made yesterday. Jimmy Butler signed a contract extension.
When I see Pat Riley and Spoelstra zero in on a guy, I almost look at it like the way Belichick zeroes in on guys. I always feel like, oh, man, Kyle Lowry's going to have a hell of a year. That Riles and Spoelstra are going to put Lowry in a position to make Butler great. Keep him happy and fed. Duncan is going to get shots. I know that Spoelstra is that unsung great coach that given the right parts, they're going to be in it. I think Miami's attitude, I tipped the scales with Jimmy Butler's attitude and Bam Adebayo at post, a little bit above Chicago. But the East is thicker this year. It's going to be, there's some depth there that I didn't expect to see, and it was because of what Chicago went and did. I'm a huge fan of Ball. I'm a huge fan of him. I think that he is going to, the best thing that could happen to him is to go someplace where we're not talking about him. Let's just see the stats. Let's just see the numbers. And you don't necessarily have to be a point guard all the time when you got Kobe White. You can roll out a three-headed monster at guard with Levine and Ball and White, move the ball like crazy. Vucevic can score. They've gotten a lot better. Billy Donovan's going to be running. That team's going to move. They're going to have a lot of possessions.
I wasn't quite sure when they gave up Wendell Carter and 2 first-round picks for Vooch, but I think that is the right move in the long run when you see the other talent they've been able to accumulate. They don't have an MVP candidate on that roster, but they have a very good top-to-bottom 8-9 player rotation.
Donovan's in a good place, and a good place. World is better when the Bulls are good. The NBA world is better when the pit stop in Chicago is nothing more than a Wednesday night, game that you might want to watch instead of looking forward to a big game with an energized Bulls fan. It's been since Derrick Rose, right? It's been about 10 years since the Bulls were really worth paying any attention to.
Oh, yeah, since they were worth paying attention to. They always try to compete. They are a proud NBA franchise. Some franchises don't mind going the tanking route. I don't think the Bulls are one of them.
I think Tibbs didn't help the situation there. I think he wore down that young team and had to leave when he did. It was the right time. And I give him about 2 more years with the Knicks. He's hard on his team.
And I think he may be somebody that's hard to work with because he seems to wear out his welcome wherever he ends up going.
Last night I was watching, I don't know why this just crossed my mind. There is a thing out on like an infomercial. It looks like a Nerf gun called a fly assault that you can shoot salt at flies. Now, that alone is intriguing. Well, I saw the commercial. I went and looked up what this thing does. And you load it with table salt. Though, if you'd like, you can load it up with some rock salt. And it said in the infomercial, if you want to test it, you put up a piece of aluminum foil, it'll shoot through it. I desperately need the bug assault thing. I think I need to buy it before it gets taken off the market for injuries. Because they made it a point of not aiming it at people. And then they give you a list of things you shouldn't kill with it, like butterflies.
Oh.
And praying mantises? Or is it praying manti?
What do you think? Yeah.
Throw down your Texas State education.
It doesn't matter.
What's wrong with the fly swatter?
If you could shoot something with a gun or hit it with a fly swatter, what's the choice? There's no decision to be made. You shoot it with a gun.
Not true.
There's nothing more dangerous than a wounded mosquito.
Not true. Have you seen the electrified tennis racket fly
I've had
swatter?
that thing. It's not quite as good.
It's fun.
It's fun, but if I could shoot it out of the sky, if you could shoot a fly out of the air, now you'd have to be
Do you
walking
know
on
how hard
rock.
that is?
What if your aim's terrible?
Like a scatter. That's what I'm saying. It's like a shotgun. It's like it's got, instead of bird shot, it's got fly shot.
So do you do the
So do you gotta
vacuuming
clean it up when it's done?
Yeah. Are you the one vacuuming when your house when you kill the fly finally?
I'm not here for the ramifications of my actions. That's somebody else's problem. No, it would be awful. It's a strange idea to shoot salt to kill bugs, but I'm getting one. I'm going to order one.
I just looked it up. It seems like they're easy enough to buy at various locations.
Oh, I can go someplace? I thought I'd buy it online. I thought I had to go to the...
Looking it up, it looks like
Assault gun,
Lowe's Academy, and Bugacell is a website. So there are a few locations that you might be able to pick one up.
That would be a great event for our Slackers Olympics. Next Thursday, we're going to be out at Slackers Medical Center, and we're going to have our own kind of office Olympics. Maybe we do some fly shooting, some skeet shooting with our assault gun.
That'd be the last time they'd invite us inside Slackers. Yeah, we're just going to release a whole bunch of flies and people get to shoot them with salt.
Sounds like fun to me.
Ends up in people's drinks.
So what are the games we're going to play? We're going to do beer pong.
Darts are in there, I heard.
Darts.
Pop a shot.
Pop a shot.
Okay, pop shot.
Is there a video game competition? We're going to find
If there is, I'm going to dominate.
Well, which one would you dominate?
All of them. Ooh. NFL Blitz,
Ooh.
NBA Jam.
Bold trash talk.
Well, should it?
Bold statement.
Slacker Sports and Arcade, the arcade, I would like to utilize that.
Yes.
The Slackers that we were at for the Blitz
North
a
Star
couple weeks ago, the
location,
North
yes.
Star location, they had a soccer pool.
Well, it's a pool table that you play like kickball.
I would love to play soccer billiards if they have that at this location. Where's the location that
It's the new medical center location.
New
Beautiful
medical-
place right there off Fredericksburg. We'll be out there next week. We're gonna each one of our teams. Don't you think we should have listeners on this thing? I think we should sign up a listener. But
let's do it.
It's kind of like golf. We need like a.
I love how free flowing your mind is.
Well, I'm feeling very Olympic today.
I need a good beer pong partner.
There's a competition coming up. Beer pong, I think we've all got a minor skill set in that. We've all done it a lot.
It's been a while.
I think
Texas State champ.
I think Papa Shot will be a good competition. I'm just curious, do we bring in individuals that are experts at one particular thing? Like if I'm looking for a teammate, you try to find somebody to fill in that thing that you're not good at. And I'm not sure what I'm good at on this one. Beer pong, I'm all right. But I do plan on winning this thing. What's your particular, if you had to stake your claim on one of the events, what's the one that you would want to be great at?
I think Papa Shot, I messed around a couple weeks ago and did pretty well on.
James?
If that's what it is, Papa Shot.
Well, that's one of them,
I dominate beer pong.
Beer pong?
Beer pong, all right.
Do we have a dart? Anybody on our... Are we going to do us against them? Us against listeners? Are we going to separate up? We're free-forming here. I'm throwing stuff against the wall. It's coming up next Thursday. We kind of got to make a decision. I cannot wait to be out there.
We should have a throwing spaghetti against the wall contest.
That's every day. I like it slightly al dente, just a little bit of bite to it, not too sticky. So those are the games, right? At Papa Shot, a video game of some sort.
I like the video game. I think that's going to be key. Darts, which I'm going to be horrible at. Beer pong, which I'm going to wreck. And should we do the soccer pool? In soccer is an Olympic game.
I'm in. I haven't been to that location since
they have it at all of them.
And so it's there too. Okay, good. Because
they have it at all their other locations. I imagine it's at this.
I was there for their initial opening. I don't recall. Doesn't mean it's not there. But if I'm going to practice, I got a week. I'm gonna have to go over there and check it out. Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar next Thursday. We're going to be out hosting our own Olympiad. If you want to play, you can jump on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. We'll get your name and an email address, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. I want to build up a list of free agents. I want to call them or email them in their off time and find out what they're good at, because I'm winning this thing. We got medals. You guys didn't even get excited about that. We're going to have medals, Carl. Medals.
That sounds fun.
That's what we're after.
I'll put it in my.
We're going to have
prizes
prizes
in my trophy
too.
case.
In your trophy case.
We're going to have prizes too.
Oh, lots of prizes. That's Slackers. They're brand new, beautiful medical center. I say brand new. It's been open for several months. Popping.
I hear they're open early.
They get open early. It's medical center. People work that night shift, that overnight. Nothing better than a good beer after work. Head over to Slackers. It's a fun place. We'll be there a week from Thursday. Our Olympiad will be in place. If you want to play, you can get on the socials. You can reach out to us at Rob Thompson ESPN, at Carl _
What? No, there's no underscore.
There's no underscore. That you're just ESPN. What's the underscore? That's Rudy. It's not on my page today for some reason. And then I am Pleasure for James. Reach out to us. Get yourself on the list. For the Big 12, it seems to be all but done. We've watched the slow death of 1,000 cuts. Well, there is some good news for you Big 12 fans. There might be a conference willing to merge or combine with you. We're going to look west to the mighty Pac-12 and talk about where the Big 12 might land. Some news dropping as we speak. When we come back, we'll look at the Big 12, continue your free agent discussions, and look at the Dallas Cowboy Pittsburgh Steeler game that you can catch right here live on San Antonio Sports Star. It's halftime, and you're on ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Emotion. There are few places in the broadcast universe where emotion is so sweet.
Nothing in one to count. Here's the pitch. A high fly ball hit out into left field. Cave going back to the wall. He leaps. It's out of here. Home run for Adolis Garcia.
There's one. On to first. There's two. And there's your ball game.
This is San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Can you feel it?
Stop living with that awful joint pain and don't let them tell you that surgery is your only option. Hey, it's James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star here, excited to tell you about QC Kinetics right here in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. QC Kinetics is the leader in biologic therapies, regenerative solutions that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain in your hips, patients here are raving about getting lasting results from QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more at 210-571-0318. If you have chronic joint pain, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Learn more about new biologic therapy options now available here. Restorative, regenerative joint treatments for joint pain. Finally, call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics at 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. Get your life back without pain. 210-571-0318.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Now, Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 15 cents. And comp books, 24-pack Crayola crayons, and 8 packs of Pep Rally No. 2 pencils are 50 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples or staples.com/back to school and get more than ready for school. Ends 8/7. Limit 30 except no limit on pencils. Pocket folder offer in store only.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late. And that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, San Antonio, it's time to get out and grill. This is Michael Kielbasa with Kielbasa Smoked Meats. Summer is here, and no backyard barbecue is complete without Kielbasa sausage. We handcraft them the old-fashioned way, the same way we have since 1949. You may want to buy a little extra because your family and guests will be coming back for seconds. Try us today. Find Kielbasa sausage at a store near you.
Calling all commissioners. Book your fantasy draft with Twin Peaks and receive the sweetest perks. Commissioners get $50 to Twin Peaks just for hosting with us, and all league members get $5. Free Wi-Fi, draft boards, and stickers upon request. It's all at Twin Peaks.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Rob Thompson, Carl Schoening. Halftime.
Halftime! What are y'all doing tonight? You want to go see some baseball? Our missions are back in business, and this is the best day to go. We'd like to give away a 4-pack and a parking pass to your $2 Tuesdays. Who sponsors it, James?
I believe San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM is your host for $2 Tuesdays out at the Wolf.
It's on our dime. We're going to make sure you get some discounted beer and some great baseball. You want to go and don't win the tickets that I'm about to give away. That's a hint. Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Tonight's game against Corpus. You want to go. $2 everything, man. Sponsored by us. Get on the phone, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. James, I want you to give away the tickets to the first person that can name the alternate name, the Corpus Christi Hooks. The true name, not just the overarching name.
Oh.
Their true fake name.
Okay.
Like our other team, they play as the Missions or as the Chanclas.
The Flying Chanclas.
The Chanclas. Corpus has an alter ego.
By the way, you should be
covet.
wearing something right now for your faux pas.
What did I foxbox? What did I do? Tell me.
Morgan Rapinoe?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That was a combination of the
I'm
two.
aware. It's
Alex
still
Morgan.
wrong, and it's deserving of the turnover chain.
This is a question for those at the halftime. When we see the 3 point guards that were signed, so one leaves, two stay, and I'll add another one. Mike Conley, CP3, Kyle Lowry, or Lonzo. What was the best of the point guard signings amongst those four?
That's a tough question
Because
they're all great players.
Let's even throw Trae Young in there for his $200 million. Of all the signings, which one will have the best and the longest term positive activity or positive action on the team that signed him?
Well, if you're throwing in Trae Young signing that extension, I think it has to be him. He is a Steph Curry clone. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of those guys who pattern their game after Steph Curry. He might end up being an all-NBA type player, and I don't think Lonzo Ball's going to have that kind of impact in Chicago.
So you put first, it is
Young and then Ball. I think Ball will have an impact in Chicago. Don't get me wrong. And Mike Conley's a steady hand. He's a great player for Utah.
They needed to keep him, don't you figure? I mean, without him, I think they saw his absence.
Same with Chris Paul.
Yes. I think when Mike Conley was absent, a lot of time, the old saying is you want to see how important you are to a company, put your hand in a bucket of water, then pull it out and see the difference. None. That sometimes you feel that way. There was a huge difference when Conley wasn't playing. That team needs that steadfast guidance that this guy has garnered over the years, though he hadn't gotten the accolades. I've always been a Conley fan. Of the four, which will have the biggest immediate impact? Chris Paul, do you expect to see that kind of exponential growth, or is he now there as just a placeholder and it's time for the young guys to catch up to him? Is Kyle Lowry going to bring that saltiness, that dog that's going to bring along the rest of the team and foster that Jimmy Butler attitude? Is Trae Young going to be what we think he is and live up to the contract? Long term, who do you like the best signing?
When you look at all of the rosters top to bottom, Miami is the one that's in the most win now state. Because even though all of them have the long-term contracts that they just signed, you can name whichever players you want. Jimmy Butler's still the main player there. And I believe Jimmy Butler is 33. There's not much time left in his prime. He's towards the end of he's in the twilight of his career. So I think they are the ones who need to win now and come out with a bang.
You think CP3 plays out this contract in
Absolutely.
Phoenix? You think he's going to play 4 more? I mean, I wouldn't turn down the money that's coming, but that seemed like a longer deal than I expected.
He went vegan. Going vegan apparently has just changed his lifestyle, his body. He feels so much better than he did in Houston. Sometimes if you treat your body right, you can go that extra 4 years. Maybe he's going to be the next Tom Brady-like style player.
I didn't know he'd gone vegan. Did I read he had wrist surgery?
I wouldn't be surprised. He was pretty banged up at the end of the season.
Chris Paul re-signs with the Suns, and there was some question whether Robert Sarver would reach out and keep him. 4 years and $120 million, a little bit less per year than I expected, but certainly long enough to make sure he is fully paid. I think Phoenix is happy to keep him, although I think they're going to regret this contract. I think after 2 years of Chris Paul, I think both parties are going to be ready to part ways.
But who takes that kind of contract?
That's going to be the problem. I think that he's going to be stuck with sitting there with getting $30 million. And Cameron Payne is going to be ready to start. Cameron Payne's going to need more and more minutes. And Chris Paul is the dominating sort. I'm not sure he's going to be willing to give that time up. 2 years from now, I think that Chris Paul is being shopped.
You're pretty high on Cameron Payne for a guy who didn't play in the NBA last year.
I saw output. I saw improvement. Is he a starting point guard in the NBA? Not yet, but I still think the search continues. And if Phoenix is smart, they're continuing that look because he's a short-term answer. And I think that team needs to become more than Chris Paul.
They have Devin Booker.
Oh, absolutely.
They have DeAndre Ayton.
They have their 3. They don't have to go get a star. They've got their future 3 between Devin and Ayton and Bridges. That's enough. They just got to get a captain of the ship, somebody to come in and make sure everybody's getting fed. Everybody feeling happy about themselves. Somebody that doesn't need the shot, but is willing to give to Booker and let him go get 35 and make sure that Mikal's getting his shots and running the high pick and roll with Ayton to ensure that he's getting into the rim and being part of that offensive flow. That's all they need.
That's why Chris Paul's the point guard.
Absolutely. I think he's showing what they need in the future, but you don't have to be as dominant as Chris Paul can be. I think that team is going to grow and catch him, and Paul's going to have to bring back his game and become just a facilitator instead of the lead. And I think that was a great move by Sarver because he'd intimated that, it's a good question. That's a lot of money spent long-term for, what will be a 40-year-old point guard by the time we're done. But as you said,
you strike while the iron's hot. If you're a guy like Chris Paul, you opt out of that $44 million because a finals trip deserves $100 million contract. He get 120. Good for him. We have one bag for a bigger check. ABC.
That's the ABCs. Chris Paul, Lowry, Lonzo, Trey, all getting paid. We're waiting on news from DeMar. Latest rumors are that Chicago is warm to the fact of moving somebody to go get DeMar. For DeMar to get paid, he's going to have to be part, I think, of a sign and trade. The free agency money has dried up to the extent that the best he could possibly hope for is a significant pay cut, a mid-level exception in some cases, and even lower than that in others if he wants to actually be a Laker.
Or stay with San Antonio, sign a 1+1. And I could see that going to free agency next year.
Be opposed. You know what? It's so no. I'm going to draw the line. He can't come back.
He can't.
He can, and it would be fine for the Spurs. I think everybody would be happy for a year. But if he does come back, does he not kind of slow the process yet again by every minute that he spends on the court is 1 minute that one of the others is not?
Minix brought this up yesterday. He wants to go to a contender. He wants to be a key piece on a contender. If he comes back to San Antonio, he knows he's playing the mentor role. Does that mean he accepts a role off of the bench to become the motor that runs the second unit?
If you listen to R&R in the morning, and I do recommend it, I think it's restaurant quality. Rudy and I, 7 to 10, make sure you're dialed in. Rudy believes, and I'm not sure if I agree or not, but I think it's worthy of conversation, that DeMar is never going to be a bench guy, that his game is as a starter, that if you're going to keep him around in his age, you start him, and then when his time's done or when the minutes or it's not appropriate, you pull him instead of bringing him off the bench. I don't know. I've never seen him come off the bench. I know he has got a skill set that would work well off the bench, but it would be a neck-up decision. He's got everything you need for a guy to come in and give you instant whatever you're after. Over the last several years, Pop has slowly groomed him to be a point guard, to understand and be a willing passer in an offense, to know that this is not your time and not your shot. You're the third option. That wasn't him when he got here from Toronto. But now it is. I think that you could bring in DeMar, and he can do several things. He can guard a 3. He can play your point. He can play your 2 and get you buckets. That's going to lengthen his career if he'll decide to come off the bench. And if he would do it for San Antonio, more the better. I would love to see DeMar here close his career down, stay here, be that guy, that corporate knowledge that we have chased for 25 years that Pop developed. Well, you've got your longest standing Spur and Patty Mills appeared about to be exit. There's no other real veteran sitting around there. I wouldn't have a problem with DeMar staying. And I even pay him what he wants. Stay a couple years, be the guy, whether it's on the bench or as a starter. I think that would be a win for everybody, but I just don't think that's in the cards for DeMar.
Well, whenever you're talking contracts, you're talking role within the team as well. And for whatever reason, the Spurs and DeMar DeRozan have not met on a new contract yet. DeMar knows what the Spurs are offering. If the Spurs are offering anything, they might be working hard with him to facilitate a sign and trade so they can get assets back and ensure they get a Lowry Markkanen or maybe a John Collins if Atlanta would do that deal. Because DeMar DeRozan does help NBA franchises, in my opinion.
Yes.
He doesn't hurt anybody.
He's not the 82nd best player in the NBA for nothing.
Exactly. He proved that he isn't.
You ever have a friend, you ever know somebody that just, wherever you are, he's a great guy, but just kind of fades into the background, that always gets kind of left out of the conversation, though they're always there? That's DeMar. DeMar's a good baller, a good player. Nobody has ever had a bad word to say playing with him or against him. He is universally respected. Coming into free agency, he was considered the best player that could be gotten off another team. He might not have been the best free agent. I think Kawhi still holds that even with only one healthy knee. But as free agency came and went, And guys, this hadn't went yet, but the money was spent initially, and still no movement on DeMar. He said, I'll take less. I just want to go to a contender. Maybe I go home, go to LA and play at home. Still no movement on DeMar. I feel bad for him today. I think if they can find a deal that will find him a place to go compete, get him to where he needs to be. Find a contender for him, because it feels like he's been the good guy, never been the squeaky wheel, was a good soldier getting traded, and he's played the role of, I'll go where I'm sent. This is where I want to be, but never been a problem. And here he sits. And James Harden gets fat, puts on fat suits, and rolls around to get what he wants. People begging to get traded, and DeMar just comes and does his job, and going to have to sacrifice some money for that. I think it's unfortunate. So pay him. Let him stay, and maybe he'll decide, I'm going to finish my career, and this will be a contender. That contender I want might only be a couple years away.
I'll leave you on this. Keldon Johnson makes Team USA. His first phone call, DeMar DeRozan. He is a mentor, an older brother to these guys already.
That's huge, Carl. That means a lot to a young team.
I think it does. It does.
And Pop above anybody else, and we've said it for years, that corporate mentality, the understanding of the lore and the history of your franchise and what it takes to win has to be passed down, and it has to be done by players, player to player. Coaches can set the stage, they could put everything in place, but unless your players truly buy into what the coach is saying and force and create an environment that forces you to buy in, like Tim always did. It all came from Tim. It was never Pop. Pop preached a good game. Tim put it into practice, and you followed Tim. You listened to Pop, but you followed Tim.
Pretty easy to follow a top 5 player of all time.
No question about it. But it had to be a player. And if DeMar would be that guy, my goodness, absolutely. It's halftime. You're in San Antonio Sports Star. 12:50 a.m., 94.5 FM.
1, 2, 3.
Live and local sports talk. To get you out the door, Rob Thompson, Rudy Gay, R&R in the morning on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
I'm James Pudger, and in NBA free agency, the Spurs came to an agreement on a 3-year, $42 million deal with forward Doug McDermott and a 3-year, $22 million deal with forward Zach Collins yesterday to kick off free agency. After 4 seasons in San Antonio, Rudy Gay has a new home in free agency as he's reportedly agreed to a 2-year, $12.1 million deal with the Utah Jazz. Team USA has advanced to Olympic play as they beat Spain 95-81, led by Kevin Durant's 29 points. They face Patty Mills and the Australian national team tomorrow night at 11:15 in the semifinals. In Major League Baseball, the Rangers won their 3rd straight as they took their series opener with the Angels 4-1, a series they continue tonight with first pitch set for 7:05, a game you can catch right here on your home for Rangers baseball, while the Astros return to action after the day off to open up a series in LA with the Dodgers with first pitch set for 9:10. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's a baseball summer, and the Missions are back on at the Wolf tonight for $2 Tuesday. The Missions battle the Corpus Christi Hooks. Come out and enjoy $2 tickets, parking, beer, and sausage wraps. Gates open at 6 p.m. with the first pitch at 7:05. Go to samissions.com for tickets and details. That's samissions.com. Wolf Stadium is now open to 100% capacity for Missions baseball. Let's get back to fun. Play ball!
Nya, nya, nya. Ba, ba, Babue, Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Cool. I just got to finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it, fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever. Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/radio to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/radio. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
Tune in to the Blitz today for the ESPN San Antonio Injury Update, powered by the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Catch up on the latest injuries and how it'll affect your team. The Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics, online at tsaog.com.
When your AC fails in the San Antonio heat, there is no time to search. Save Service First in your contacts and have an AC tech on speed dial 24/7. Service First. Save us before you need us.
Have Service First in your phone, 521-1500.
While most water providers do a pretty good job making sure they exceed EPA guidelines, did you know EPA standards for tap water have not been updated in almost 20 years? With growing concerns of our aging infrastructure, more homeowners want to take their water quality into their own hands. That is why you should call Alamo Water Softeners and have them give you a free water analysis. Some chemicals and contaminants are undetectable. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
This is the place where time stands still. With each down is a battle of inches.
How about 83 yards from Prescott to Elliott?
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Opinions. We got them. Keep them coming. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The clock's ticking. Halftime's almost up, and we got things happening. We go to break, and news drops. Welcome on to the halftime. He's Carl Schoening. I'm Rob Thompson. We are running out of time. News just fell. A Woj bomb exploded in our face. Patty Mills, bon voyage. It's been a pleasure. The longest-standing San Antonio Spur is taking his talents to Brooklyn. We'll be joining KD and the rest. Maybe they'll have a conversation before tomorrow's game between Australia and Team USA. But Patty, goodbye. Going to Brooklyn.
2 years, $12 million. Good for him.
We knew it was a possibility. There was some thought that Boston might be involved, so that opened up another spot. There are other rumblings that DeMar is in conversation.
Another breaking
news. Coming fast and furious.
Yeah, he is going to meet with the Los Angeles Clippers today. That is DeMar DeRozan, according to Chris Haynes from Yahoo.
How much money do the Clippers have?
The only thing they can sign him with straight up is the taxpayer MLE of $5.3 million.
How much they like Terrence Mann? They attached to him. Do you think that there would be... I know the money would have to be a little bit more.
He raised his eventual salary this playoffs.
I don't want to get into that argument. Is he a Spurs player? But I do like him.
What if I interest you in a Terrence Mann along with Luke Kennard's contract?
I think Luke Kennard will never earn the money that he's getting paid. I mean, he's not going to justify that because that's a ridiculous contract. But for the Spurs, I think he's a good fit. I think he could fill a couple of roles. He's certainly unlike anybody the Spurs have currently. Nice shooter, smart guy. Not my first choice.
It would give you all those pieces you want to surround Ben Simmons.
I agree. It gives you another one of those snipes. It's just a lot of money to pay. But I do know that he's got good genes. He's a Duke type. Got into the league, and I didn't think he'd do what he did. Got buried in Detroit. And, I thought he was helpful. I think he helped the Clips. I think that was it's a lot of money to pay him, and I think that's why they're willing to move him. My druthers, DeMar goes and plays for is a contender, but in the East with Chicago. If he lands in LA, that's great for him. I think he's earned that opportunity, but at $5 million, man, have some respect.
The Spurs don't help the Clippers. Under no circumstances do you help the Clippers.
Well, there's nothing we can say on this one. He can go.
Well, if he wants to sign for the 5.3, that's tomorrow all day. If he wants to take that kind of pay cut,
but you wouldn't get involved with a sign and trade to help him. No,
not the Lakers, the Clippers, not the Warriors, none of those West Coast teams. Nobody in the West really.
Now, do you not want to help the Clippers because it's the Clippers, or do you not want to help the Clippers because Kawhi?
I got no beef with the Clips. I don't.
More so the Western Conference. I don't make that trade to the Mavericks. The Mavericks, I wouldn't sign and trade DeMar to help them out.
I have no problem with the Clips. I would have a problem with the Lakers helping them out. Hey, don't forget, catch up on the Blitz at 4 o'clock. Jason Minix will have all of your updates. Also, good doc from TSAOG Orthopedics will join him about 6 o'clock. They're going to talk a lot, I'm sure, about Zach Collins' foot as free agency continues. Patty Mills, bye. It's been nice knowing you.
It's that time. Buses, school zone, study hall, and the classroom. It's back to school. And to make it special, you have the chance to win $1,000 in San Antonio Sports Stars back to school giveaway. $500 for you and $500 to donate to your school. No way. Register now at sasportstar.com. Powered by Aguero's Automotive Paint and Supplies. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Yes, the nagging pain is impossible, and you do everything possible to manage it. But QC Kinetics patients like Chad found out it wasn't just managing the physical pain.
It was mentally, emotionally, it was affecting all parts of my life, my family environment. It was hard when you couldn't go and do the things that, your wife wanted to do, whether you go for a bike ride or take the dog for a walk.
Like many of you, Chad's hip and legs ache